Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. Today we're talking about Demon Slayer Season 3, Episode 9. This episode is named after Muichiro, the Mist Hashira, because it is all about him, even though last episode kind of was too, but literally all about him throughout the course of this. So we pretty much start off where we ended with Muichiro fighting the upper rank 5 demon by himself, by the way, and then pretty much immediately go into the intro. So let's go ahead and skip past the intro here, get ourselves into the actual fight. So he is saying that he's feeling really in the zone, like he's feeling like super in the zone at this point in time. Um, and he's basically mocking the upper rank 5. He's basically like, this is gonna end with your head cut off. Like I hate to tell you that. He is showing like uber confidence right now. And it's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy how confident he seems facing a upper rank demon, because this we saw what happened with Tanjiro versus upper rank 6. I mean, him, Inosuke, Zenitsu all got beat pretty hard. Not to mention, uh, Tengen almost died as well from poison and losing one of his arms. So that you're talking 4 against 1, where this is 1 versus 1, which is kind of crazy to me. It's the overconfidence. I thought was going to be his downfall, but who knows? So he's like, "Oh, you can't reach my neck. You can't do this. You can't do that." And he was like, "What are you talking about? I already reached your neck. You just used your teleport technique to get out of it." Um, and then he mocks his vase. He says his vase isn't asymmetrical. It looks like crap. So he uses this other blood demon art with these 10,000 fish that he said will nibble the flesh from his bones rather. And when he started slicing them, he was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter because when he gets hit with the remnants for him before they dissolve, it'll poison him." Somehow he was able, after the mark showed up on his face, the poison seemed to not affect him anymore, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'm hoping we get to learn a little bit more about the mark on his face as well. It seems like it made him more powerful. Something along those lines. But then he starts using all of these different mist forms, pretty much just being a bona fide badass. And then we get to see him shed his skin. So Upper Rank 5 also has the ability to shed his skin in order to, I guess, become more powerful. He kind of turns into this giant kind of snake type thing. You could also say sea serpent to a certain extent too, being that he has a lot of fish-like qualities, sea-like qualities. Um, uh, Loch Ness monster maybe somewhere around there too. But he sheds his skin. Baby arms are gone. He talks about how his scales are harder than diamonds, and he has a bunch of them, surrounding his neck, so just so he doesn't get his neck cut off. He says he sharpens his nails inside of his pot. So everything is extremely sharp, and he looks like he's a lot buffer and a lot more snaking like, and the pots are gone. So no more teleporting, no more tricks. He even said, only 3 people have ever seen me in this form. And then Muichiro goes to mock him and say, "Oh, so a lot." So I'm guessing Muzan has seen him in this form. Um, I'm not really sure how they get to upper ranks. I think they have to fight each other or something along those lines, if I remember correctly. They have to challenge each other. So I'm assuming maybe Gutaro, got to see this form. I mean, I don't know how or whoever was the upper rank 6 before Gutaro possibly saw this form. I'm honestly not sure how that works, but I know definitely Muzan, 100% would know what this form looks like. At least that's my guess. So he then is extremely fast. Everything he touches turns to fish. He gently, he doesn't fully get a hold of Muichiro, but he does touch the uniform, and the front of the uniform actually turns to fish and falls off. And he's like, "What do you think of my godlike power?" Like, he's being super overconfident too. He thinks it's impossible for this child. He calls him 10. I think Muichiro is, if I remember correctly, he's either the same age as Tanjiro, so you're talking like 14, or I think he might be a year younger, so he might actually be 13. Um, which is kind of crazy to think he's holding his own against a upper rank, being the age he is. We see, we've seen Tanjiro really not be able to stay. One on one, he wouldn't have been able to defeat an upper rank. I mean, I'm putting that out there now, and I think that still holds true based on this episode. Of one on one, he definitely needs help. The only reason we also learn that the Mist Hashira here is alive is because the head of the Demon Slayers, his wife just happened to go by after him and his brother encounter this demon. His brother, dead. I kind of figured that after he'd lost his arm and was bleeding out all over the place. Even though ironically, Shonen has a habit of cutting off people's arms and making them live. So I guess maybe they did that purposefully to kind of break out of that stereotype to a certain extent. But that's what happens there. Brother is definitely confirmed dead, and then he loses his memory and starts training. And they just kind of let him go. They let him train as hard as he wants, and he does. He trains as hard as he wants. Then we just go back to the fight, and he is missing every single attack. It's becoming evidently clear that Muichiro is stronger than he is. And then he does his. I think this is like the final form of mist breathing, and he's in a giant mist. You can't see him anywhere. And he says, you act like you're the only one that wasn't taking this seriously. So I think both of the overconfidence, one of them was going to have to win. And Muichiro wins. He cuts the head off the upper rank by himself. He drops down. He's like, I have to report this back to Lord Muzan. I have to make a report. He then starts screaming at him, saying, how can I lose to a 10-year-old, a low-level life form? All of this, and insulting him to his very last breath. At which point, Muichiro is just done with it. He's like, there's no point in this anymore. Cuts him up into a bunch of tiny little pieces, and he dissolves into dust, and that's it. Upper rank 5 is defeated. And he was like, you know what, Headmaster, head of the Demon Corps, you were right. I should have listened to you and begin with. And he said, once he gets his memory back, his frustrations will disappear, and that's exactly what happened. His frustrations disappeared. Then we have one of the Swartz villagers saying, "Are you all right?" And he was like, "Yep, fine. I got to go catch Tanjiro." But apparently the mark dissolved off of his face after this. So apparently using that mark uses a lot of power. Being that he starts foaming at the mouth. He looks pale. It looks like the poison might be finally getting to him. I'm not really sure. And then we have Mr. Haganezuko. He's still working on the sword over there. Still working on the sword. Then Kotetsu is perfectly fine, and the reason Kotetsu is fine is because he had the hilt from Tanjiro. Rengoku gave him the hilt. His brother said, keep it, and he wants that hilt on his new sword. So he was going to give that to, the swordsmith. That's the only reason he's alive, because when the fish stabbed him, yes, he's bleeding from his arms, and he said if he doesn't stop the bleeding soon, he might die, but he's probably fine. Kotetsu, I believe he's going to be fine, and the reason he was saved was because he had that sword hilt on him, and that's what the fish ultimately stabbed. He didn't stab him directly in his bowels. He hit the sword hilt, which I'm sure the pressure must have hurt a lot, but he's good to go. And then we get to see a nice little throwback to Rengoku, which is really nice. He then sees his family, which I'm hoping he's not dead. It looks like he's in the arms of his mother, his father, his brother shows up as well. So I'm wondering if at this point, yes, he defeated an upper rank, but I'm hoping it's not one of those things where the poison got to him and he's dead, because it kind of seems like it. It seems like he's dying right now. But he has people around him to help him. So I'm not really sure. We're going to have to wait until the next episode. But Upper Rank 5 is done. So, 9 episodes in, goodbye Upper Rank 5. I believe we're only getting 11 episodes. I have seen a couple things say 12, so there might be 3 episodes, but I'm only expecting 2. I'll definitely tune back in the following Sunday after the 11th episode. But if the fourth upper demon gets defeated in that 11th episode, then I'm just going to assume that that's all she wrote for the season. But Tanjiro realizes he can't do it. Basically, Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko combined are not defeating this thing. It has, this new form has the abilities of all the other past clones, whatever the heck they are, and it has this crazy dragon ability. Tanjiro thinks if he can get away from it, a certain amount, because he was measuring the meters. But however, it can generate other dragon heads in its mouth. Think Alien. An Alien versus Predator. You can think about that way. Unfortunately, Tanjiro ends up getting swallowed by the thing, and we think that's all she wrote. But Mitsuri finally shows up after like 7 episodes. We haven't seen her since like episode 2 or 3 at this point. Yes, she, helped save the head of the village, which is delightful. Had defeated that disgusting fish monster thing. But I feel like she should have got here a little bit sooner, a little bit sooner. But she's here. Tanjiro's good. Basically, she tells him, you did a good job. I will take it from here. And Tanjiro's like begging at her, wait. He's like, wait, you don't understand how OP this dude is. It's an upper rank 4. And she's just charging in there like nothing. I don't honestly at this point, because Muichiro is on the ground, essentially dying, foaming at the mouth. He's not coming to this fight. He's done. He defeated his upper rank. He does not have any more stamina in him to do anything, and there's really nothing they can do. Tanjiro does not have enough stamina to really do much either, so this is pretty much going to be a Mitsuri fight. I mean, Tanjiro also got his foot slashed in this too, so I'm sure he's going to have a very difficult time moving. But the only thing is, I can think he might be used to find the body, the original body of Upper Rank 4. Because you can have Nezuko and Genya and Mitsuri fighting Upper Rank 4 while he goes after it, because he can go at a slower pace, because obviously the demons assumes he's dead anyway. He swallowed him. I don't know if the Upper Rank 4 actually saw him get out of the dragon, but that's kind of where we're at. So there you have it. I mean, that's basically the end of the episode. I'll skip through a couple of parts here, but yeah, Mitsuri goes running in with her crazy whip sword thing. And then we do get to see Inosuke and Zenitsu at the end of this. They're like, where the heck are we? Why aren't we in there? When's our turn? When's our turn? And I thought that was hilarious, because they're not in. We knew in advance they weren't in this entire season, minus like the first episode. But I like how they do throw their characters in there at the end of it. They're like, well, whatever. They better defeat this stupid Upper Rank 4. And that's the end of the episode. So I mean, this episode we got to see an Upper Rank defeated. So that deserves a solid 9 out of 10 just for that. But overall, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. Don't really have any complaints. We got to see a cool new power from Muichiro. Hopefully he's not dead. He saved the day. He saved those swords in this. Hopefully Tanjiro will be getting his new sword in the next episode or 2. I'm guessing. Maybe that will help him defeat the Upper Rank 4. I really don't know, but we have no idea where the body is, where the main body is for Upper Rank 4. So that is kind of concerning, but minimum 2 episodes left, and I'm guessing Upper Rank 4 has got to get defeated. They're not going to kill Tanjiro, the main character of the show, so Upper Rank 4 is definitely going to have to get defeated in the next episode or 2. But there you go. There you have it. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, comment what you want to see for future anime, cartoon-related content. And as always, have a good one.